New today, the Justice Department has subpoenaed former Trump senior advisor Stephen Miller, a source telling CNN that the Department of Justice is seeking information about the Save America PAC, alleged fake electors, and communications between Miller and other people in Trump's orbit. With me now to talk about this is former Assistant U.S. Attorney in the Southern District of New York and CNN senior legal analyst Elie Honig. Elie, very interesting. Somebody very high up in Trump's orbit. What do you make?
Yeah, Jim. Well, first of all, this person, Stephen Miller, is a rarity because he was one of the very few people who was with Donald Trump from the first day, January 20th, 2017, to the last day, January 20th, 2021. Now, the focus, as you said, appears to be on the fake electors scheme here. He's sort of the ultimate insider. And let's remember, this is a DOJ subpoena. This is a grand jury criminal subpoena. You cannot just brush this off. You really have only two choices, which is testify or take the fifth. And finally, Jim, I think it's worth remembering, with all the focus on Mar-a-Lago and Florida and the classified documents, these January 6th investigations out of Fulton County, Georgia, out of Congress, and I think most importantly, out of the Justice Department, remain very much ongoing and in some senses intensifying, as we're seeing with this new subpoena.
And Elie, I mean, as we've been talking about, Trump is also facing an investigation by the Department of Justice about these classified documents found at Mar-a-Lago. Let's listen to what Bill Barr, someone you're very familiar with, the former Attorney General, and what he said on Fox about the possibility of Trump being indicted. It was very interesting. Let's watch.
Do you indict a former president? What will that do to the country? What kind of precedent will that set? Will the people really understand that this is not, failing to return a library book, that this was serious? And so you have to worry about those things. And I hope that those kinds of factors will incline the administration not to indict him, because I don't want to see him indicted as a former president.
Elie, what do you make of this argument and the whole library book thing? I still don't get that one, but I'll let you take a shot at it.
Well, Jim, the comparison to a library book is obviously preposterous, doesn't even really merit much knocking down. I think what Bill Barr is doing there is sort of echoing an important debate that's happening within prosecutorial circles, which is, do you take into account all the extraneous elements that may attend a prosecution of a former president? Do you think about, well, it might anger people, well, it might cause people to do rash things, well, it might be politically divisive? In a vacuum, I think most prosecutors would tell you no. That is DOJ's role, not to think about those things, not to consider politics. And if you do not charge a case that you think is well-founded because of those reasons, in a way, that in itself is a political decision that would put any president, current or past, out of the reach of the law. So there's really an interesting debate playing out. I think it's impossible to conclude Merrick Garland is not at all thinking about these things, but we'll see if he forges ahead on sort of the classic prosecutorial factors of the facts in the law and nothing else.
And he's hinted at that along the way. So I guess we'll see, you're right, how that all plays out. And this week, Steve Bannon pleaded not guilty to state money laundering charges, conspiracy and fraud related to an online scheme to raise money to build the border wall. And here's what he said as he was handcuffed and walked by reporters. It was very Steve Bannon. Let's watch.
This is what happens in the last days of the dying regime. They will never shut me up. They'll have to kill me first. I have not yet begun to fight.
Now, Elie, as you know, former President Trump pardoned Steve Bannon on federal charges related to the same scheme, but presidential pardons do not extend to state charges. And so how much legal trouble is Bannon potentially in here?
Yeah, he's in real trouble here, Jim. This is not just theoretical or hypothetical. I mean, first of all, let's remember, he has been convicted in a federal case of contempt of Congress. He had his trial back in July, and he's coming up for sentencing next month. He will be sentenced to at least a month in federal prison, potentially more. But under the law, he has to do at least 30 days. Now this charge comes on top of this. And in a way, he's looking at even more serious crime here, because this is a fraud. This is a multi-million-dollar fundraising effort premised on a fraud. And if you look at the state indictment, which I did, the evidence against him is his own text. He's essentially guilty on his own text. So he's looking at some real trouble here, Jim.
All right, Elie Honig, thank you very much.